Go live, you guys. This is your opportunity to ask your questions about herpes. You guys have submitted your questions. I do have Herpes Anonymous. You submit your questions to me, and then I will answer them here. So I'm excited to be live with you. Do not ask okay, my hair is a hot mess because I did French braids because I wanted mermaid hair. And then yesterday I didn't ever get dressed. Like my day just was crazy. And so I left them and now it's like 2 days in braids and this is what I look like. But I'm going to get a facial. So I'm going to keep them in braids and then take them out after in case you all want to know what's going on with my hair. But let's answer some questions that are going on over here with the Herpes Anonymous. You guys have really been enjoying these questions. And what I like about them is it's your opportunity to ask those questions that you're like, I don't know if I would have asked it. It's a little nerve-wracking. I don't want people to know my name. I don't want people to know my handle. So it's fun to see, it's not fun to see what type of questions you have, but I like seeing that you guys are asking the questions and it's fun to see them come in. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is I don't like that you're like in a struggling spot and freaking out. Let's get to it. The first Herpes Anonymous question that I have is from Veronica. And she asks, if I have HSV2, can I receive oral? Or say I have HSV1. Okay, so if I have HSV2, okay, hold on. Oh, there we go. So if I have HSV1, can I receive stuff down there? Or say I have HSV1 too, if I do things with my mouth to someone, would they get both 1 and 2 down there, vice versa with the mouth? Okay, so let me clear that up. If I have, okay, so Veronica, great question. So whatever you have, wherever you have it. So in your case, you're asking 1 or 2. It doesn't matter what type you have, okay? So let's talk about herpes down there. And let's say you have herpes down there, okay? So that's where you are contagious, okay? So you're not contagious on your mouth. You're not contagious on your elbow. You're not contagious on your knee. You're contagious down there. So that area, wherever that area comes in contact with somebody else, that can be infected. So for example, your particular question, if somebody does things with his or her mouth down there on you, yes, you can potentially infect that person's mouth. Or if that is not normal, but if it's like regular intimacy, then you could potentially impact someone down there, right? Does that make sense? Vice versa, guys. This is something that most people don't know, and it's very frustrating to me because there's so many of us, I was included, I'm guilty of this. This was me prior to being diagnosed with HSV2 genital, is we think, oh, I have oral herpes, that's the good kind. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to disclose. I'm not part of the STD group. Ew, gross. I don't have that kind. I have the kind that everybody has, right? And that was me, and that's what I thought. Unfortunately, or fortunately, or whatever, doesn't matter what type of HSV you have, and it doesn't matter where you have it. You can still transmit it. So if you have oral herpes, type 1 or type 2, it doesn't matter. If you do things with your mouth on your partner, whatever you do with your mouth, if you kiss your partner or you do things down there with your partner, you can potentially transmit it to that person. What gets confusing is we try to say, like, we think, right, it's the assumed that HSV1 is always oral and HSV2 is always genital. Okay, that's false. That's erroneous. That's what we originally believed decades ago. That's what I was taught not as a young child. That sounds creepy, but that's what I was taught in sex ed as a teenager. That's what the doctors said. That's just what it was up until, I would say really the last 10 years. Like, we've known that HSV1 can be down there and HSV2 can be up there, but I'd really say that the last 10 years, it's been really, it's become well known, and we're still discussing it. So it's taking people time to get the information out. So let's get out of our head that up here is HSV1 and down there is HSV2. Down here, you can have HSV1 or you can have HSV2. Up here, you can have HSV1 or you can have HSV2. Thank you for the roses. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. So does that make sense what I'm saying? You can have it up here, you can have it down there. It doesn't matter what type. So Veronica, if I just... So another great, so just Veronica, because Veronica paid for this question, I want to make sure that I give you as much information as possible. Back to your question on how does it get transmitted. If you have herpes down here, right? If we have herpes down here, it's not going to like somehow go through our body and transmit through our mouth. So your mouth, you're not able to transmit herpes. Vice versa, you have herpes orally, not genitally. It doesn't like go through your body and transmit through your genitals. It doesn't like, like I'm trying to think. It doesn't like, it's not like a shapeshifter or something and like goes through your body. So it is either, so where you have herpes, where you have HSV, where you get your outbreaks is where you are contagious. Does that make sense, guys? Veronica, let me know. You'll be getting this video in the next couple days. So let me know if you have extra questions and I can elaborate on it. I don't know if you're watching right now. So guys, I will go really into depth on your questions. It's called Herpes Anonymous. You can submit your question. Okay. Does HSV2 cause you to be prone to yeast infections? Okay, great question. Great question. So the short answer, no. Long answer, yes. Okay. So if you are going to go to your doctor and say, I have HSV2 or I have genital herpes or whatever, is this causing yeast infections? The answer is no, right? But here's my answer. Now, I'm not a doctor. This is not a clinical response. This is just me as someone that's lived with herpes and someone that's lived with chronic yeast infections and someone that's lived with chronic BV and someone that's lived with chronic UTIs and all sorts of fun stuff, right, when I was first diagnosed. Your body, when you get outbreaks, your body when you have yeast infections, your body when you have UTIs, your body when you have BV, it's stressed out. It's stressed out to the max. It's like WTF is going on, okay? So whereas like HSV doesn't like transmute into yeast, like HSV is a virus. You asked about, was it yeast? Yeast. Yeast is a fungus, right? Like a virus doesn't turn into a fungus. A virus doesn't turn into a bacteria. A bacteria doesn't turn into a fungus, right? They're all different animals, animal kingdom. They're all part of the animal kingdom. They're all different. Like I'm not going to turn into a dog, right? But at least I don't think, like I'm not Team Jacob over here. But when your body is fighting something, so let's say you're fighting a yeast infection, fighting. Well, your body is worn out, and then it gives the bacteria an opportunity to say, oh, you're over here fighting yeast, I can pop up. Or bacteria is like, oh, I can pop up, and herpes virus is like, I can pop up too, right? So does it cause it? No. Can it be a ripple effect on your immune system? Absolutely. Something that I want you to do if you are dealing with UTIs, if you're dealing with yeast, go to my Instagram. I have someone that I feature a lot. Her name is Coach Sarah Joy. Okay, you need to follow her. You need to listen to her protocol. It will change your life. I am going to make a crystal ball prediction. This is not proven. This is not anything. This is a crystal ball. This is my own theory. From the majority of women that I have talked to, and I've talked to thousands, I would say 90% of the women that were diagnosed with herpes were also diagnosed with something else. It was yeast, it was bacteria, it was UTI, it was something else, which means that our vaginal ecosystem, as well as our gut ecosystem, is shot. Our bodies are not able to fight anything that comes at us. So for me, I was dealing with UTIs, BV, and yeast infections for 2 years. When herpes showed up, my body didn't have an opportunity to fight it. Just because you come in contact with somebody that has herpes doesn't mean you're going to get it. My husband, I've been with him, it'll be 10 years this summer. He doesn't have herpes, right? So he comes in contact with me daily. He doesn't have it, right? So just because you like come in contact, it's not like this like big puff of smoke that you're like going to walk through and get herpes. You can have the ability to have a fair fight. Your immune system can have that ability. But when we are struggling with poor gut health, we don't have the good bacteria, we don't stand a chance. So yeah, Coach Sarah Joy, she's on my Instagram. You guys have got to follow her. How often am I shedding if I haven't had a breakout in 2 years? I don't know. That's the thing. We're not going to be able to know. Everybody's going to be different. I've tried to find different statistics and I don't really have one that's like, oh, you're shedding X percent of the time. Like I don't really have information on that. So the longer you have it, the less likely you are to shed. The less often you get outbreaks, less likely you are to shed. If you are taking the antiviral, then you are less likely to shed. So that's all I can say. Yeah, yeast is bacteria, not a virus. Yeah, yeast is actually a fungus. Because when you have a yeast infection, you're given an antifungal. But yeah, yeast can also be a bacteria as well. Like you use yeast to cook, but it's bacteria, it's fungus, it's all sorts of things. How likely are you to spread to a new partner? I don't know, right? It depends on your partner's immune support. It depends on your partner's immune health. Depends on how active you are. Depends on where you have it, like the location of it. For example, if you get it on your inner thigh, versus right there at the genitals, it depends on all that. What I would say the most important thing is to boost your immune systems, both you and your partner. The stronger that you guys are health-wise with good bacteria versus bad bacteria, the stronger you are at fighting it. My doctor doesn't want to give me Valtrex unless I have a breakout. When I told her it does prevent transmission. So that is going to be between you and your doctor. That is going to be the best way to prevent transmission to your partner is by taking the antiviral, but it's going to be completely up to you if that's what you want to do and your doctor and your partner. I would maybe talk to a different doctor or talk to a different, get a different point of view and explain to her like, hey, this lessens the transmission rate by 48%. Like do your own research and maybe present it to your doctor if it's important to you. Can you take daily medication while pregnant? Is that safe? So again, I'm not a doctor. I cannot say. I can tell you what I did when I was pregnant. When I was pregnant, I did not take lysine. I did not take arginine. I did not take arginine. I don't take arginine. Arginine is something that we don't want to take because we have herpes. But I didn't take lysine. I did not take monolaurin. I did, however, take the antiviral the last month of my pregnancy so that I was able to have a vaginal birth. I decided not to take the antiviral while pregnant because you can't eat a turkey sandwich. You can't eat sushi. You can't eat from the deli. You can't eat, you can't have a glass of wine. You can't, all sorts of stuff that I was like, if I can't do that, you're going to give me a medication? I don't know about that, right? So I waited to the very, very end so that I was able to have a vaginal birth. So that's what I personally did. Yes, it is prescribed to mommies to be. So it is something that it is prescribed to, but you, again, talk to your doctor and see what you want to do. All right, my friends, I appreciate. Can you spread herpes through broken skin? Yes, you can. So let's say that I had an outbreak right here, and let's say let's say my son had a boo-boo and I kissed his boo-boo and I had an outbreak. Yeah, I could transmit it to him that way. What's the transmission rate while on antivirals? It lessens the transmission by 48%. your boyfriend just broke up with you because you have HSV too. So I'm going to be really curt with you right now, Kaylin, because just for the sake of time, my timer is going to go off in a second because I have to go to another appointment. Your boyfriend did not break up with you because of HSV too. We break up with people, or we reject people, or we tell people no for 3 reasons. 1, we're not emotionally mature to either be in a relationship or, in this case, handle herpes. Number 2, we have other beliefs that don't align with herpes or don't align with you. So he may have a different belief system about herpes or whatever. 3, he's not into you. And that's the hardest, and I'm sorry, that's why I'm being very curt, but he's not into you, okay? So I can use myself for example. There's guys that I dated, had they come to me and said, I have herpes, I would say there's only 3 that I would have actually dated. 3. The rest would have been a hell no. I didn't like them enough. I liked them enough for the summer. I liked them enough to date for fun. I liked them enough to try it out and see. But looking back, there's only 3 that I would have, 1 being my husband, right? 1 being my husband, that I would have been like, hell yes, not a problem. So when you are fully committed, when you have rainbows and butterflies, when there are not red flags, when you're like, this is the person that we share, we have a strong foundation and we share common values, this is somebody I want to spend my life with, hell yes. Does that make sense? So I'm really sorry that you're going through this pain. This is something that we talk about in our support group. We talked about it last night in our support group. So if it's something that you want to elaborate on, definitely check it out. We're here to support, and we're here to get you through this. All right, guys, thank you. I appreciate you spending the day with me, answer that. Do you transmit herpes through kissing? If you have oral herpes, yes. If you have genital herpes, no. That actually adds on to Veronica's question. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.